Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of the podcast. Right now, it is a nameless podcast, but together, all four of us. My name is Josh. I got next to me Patty, to my right Zeki, and then in front of me on Zoom, Eli, straight out of Florida, or are you still in Nashville?
I'm in Florida now.
Straight out of Florida. We're all juniors in college from Cleveland, Ohio. All went to middle school, high school together, stayed friends, and we decided during this time, it's very uncertain what you can do right now being a college-age kid, and we're all hanging out, so we said, fuck it, why not record everything we're talking about? So this is the first episode, and we're really excited to hear what everyone has to say and get some feedback. So we'll get right into it. We're Cleveland guys. We're born and bred, and to say that this is the greatest time to be a Cleveland sports fan is an understatement. I would say, speaking for myself and the rest of us, that we have never seen a team like this before in our lifetime, nor have we ever seen the city come together around the Browns like this. Eli, what do you have to say? You were at the game against the Titans.
Yeah. So I'm, like Josh said, I'm currently in Florida. I was luckily attended that masterpiece of a performance by the guy number 6 in white, and yeah, it was fun. It was a good atmosphere. A lot of Browns fans down there. We sat pretty high up, but around us there was a lot of Browns fans. It was nice. In the lower bowl, it didn't seem like there was as many, but there was a lot of us there, and glad we could all be shocked by what that performance was in the first half, to say the least.
I wasn't shocked. As you guys know, I came out before that game and said I thought we were going to beat the Titans. Not a lot of people agreed. They came into the game 5.5 point underdog. I don't personally bet on the Browns ever, just because of superstitious reasons. But
Very good at superstitious reasons.
I was pretty confident coming in. I thought they were embarrassed last year in the home opener against the Titans, and I think a lot of those guys that came back this year were on the team yesterday or on Sunday were a little hurt by what happened last year, and I think they took it personally, and they came out and played like it. Kevin Stefanski had a good game plan ready to go. He saw that the Titans defense was weak against a play action pass, coming in ranked 31st, giving up 9.5 yards per play action play. I think he recognized a weakness and thought that the Titans were going to spend a lot of time trying to shut down Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and it worked out. Baker looked great. He was firing the ball into all his receivers. There weren't a lot of throws high. He didn't really miss anywhere. Another game without a pick. He's got the longest streak in the NFL right now with 157 completed attempted passes in a row without a pick. I mean, that's the team that a lot of us thought we had last year. A lot of us thought we had coming into this year. And it's pretty fucking amazing to watch it actually happen, especially as 20-year-old Browns fans. We haven't really seen too much success in our lifetime. So to see them come out and do exactly what we thought they could do was pretty amazing.
I agree with what Pat said. I was just saying I was shocked by a 38-7 halftime lead. I'll say that.
Yeah, I was not. I will say I was not expecting that type of performance.
If you said that we were going to come in against the Titans and just drop 5 touchdowns on their head, and have a perfect first half, 0 punts in that first half, I would say you're lying.
Yeah, and holding Derrick Henry to 60 yards in a game, I would have told you were crazy on that one too. I mean, no team has been able to stop him except for us, apparently. He's looked like a man amongst boys this entire season. I mean, 1,300 rushing yards already, and we've got 4 games left still. So, I mean, a lot to look forward to. We got Monday night coming up against the Ravens, who are currently playing the Cowboys and are currently losing,
Marlon Humphreys gets toasted. Who would have thought?
Lamar Jackson is not a good quarterback. I've said it once, I'll say it again. This man should not be that guy for them. It's a bad decision.
I agree. I've been very critical of him coming out of college, and I get he had an MVP season and he did what he needed to do in the regular season. But when it came time for a playoff game again, he lost. We're seeing a lot of as Gus Edwards rips off a 50-yard rush, but we're seeing a lot of the things that people are criticizing him for are passing ability, passing accuracy, and decision making in big time games when they need to throw the ball. I just don't personally think he can actually do that type of football. I think when they're up and their run game and defense is what it was last year, he's a very good quarterback. But when they face adversity this year, you've seen it. He's not really able to do the type of things that even a Baker Mayfield is able to do right now, and that's move the ball downfield with big chunk plays through the air. I just don't think that Lamar can really do that. And when they're put out of their comfort zone, it showed this year.
I think that a lot, as Browns fans, we're very critical of all quarterbacks, especially our own. And I think for the first 2 years when we've had Baker, we were very, very critical about what he could be, especially coming in. He was number 1 pick. He was a Heisman winner. He had some obviously he's a little short. His runs are not as powerful. Sometimes his throws are very inaccurate. But I think that we haven't really given him the time to mature, both as a leader and as a quarterback. He's had how many different head coaches, Eli?
He said this is his 4th head coach in 3 years.
I mean, who else in the NFL has seen that? Maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick, like getting on a different team every year. Josh McCown. Like the fact that he has been on our team and still had those flashes where he can be a very good, I'm not saying the GR word, a very good quarterback. I think that as Browns fans, we're very critical, and sometimes we have to not take it for granted and just realize, all right, he could be the person we need, not necessarily the person we need to pay, but the person that we need to get us in a right standing so we're not the joke of the league anymore, which we're not right now. We are not the joke. We are the 3rd best team in the AFC for a reason.
And I think it shows with the way Baker's played since pretty much the middle of the season, since that Pittsburgh game where we got embarrassed. Since then, he is the 3rd best Pro Football Focus grade out of quarterbacks, only trailing Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes.
And those are the MVP candidates for this year.
And I'm not saying that Baker is in that category because he's not. No. But he's taking care of the ball since that game. He's made smart throws. At times it's been a little high, a little wild, but he's taking care of the ball. And that's really all this team needs. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. When we don't turn the ball over, we win games because of how good our offensive line is and how good our running game is. We control clock. We don't turn the ball over. We don't give the opposing offense a short field. And the defense isn't great, but it's shown flashes of being a top half of the league defense.
And that's all you need.
I mean, Denzel's been having a fantastic year. I'll admit it. I was pretty hard on him last year with some of the penalties that he had, and it seemed like a little bit of an injury-prone year for him. But he's had a fantastic year. And if he hadn't gotten hurt this past week, you could argue he was an all-pro corner this year. Agreed. And then you have Myles Garrett. We all know how good he is. You don't really need to talk about it. When he steps on the field, he's almost a guaranteed sack a game. And then
he is a sack a game.
And then you've got complimentary pieces like Sheldon Richardson, Ogunjobi, Terrence Mitchell's not horrible. Carl Joseph serves a purpose. Mac Wilson's been pretty solid. Jacoby Phillips hasn't been horrible.
Taki.
The defense has at times it's been exposed for having a weak secondary, but it's been what we've needed to be. And if Baker continues playing this way, I don't see any reason why we couldn't win a playoff game this year.
What is the line right now for Monday night for us versus the Ravens? Eli, do you know off the top of your head?
I think it's 2.5.
It moved down to 1 this morning. It's plus 1 points for the Browns right now.
So I'll say this. Watch out for Baker's passing yards. I'm just saying that right now. Josh texted me early Sunday. He said, we like Chubbs rushing. And I said, don't sleep on Baker's 227. And sure enough, I'm kind of tooting my own horn, but I didn't put the bet, but I told them, you're gonna make a bet on this Browns game. Look at Baker's passing yards, and I'm gonna ride that train again this week and say, against the Ravens, Baker's had 3 games over 320 yards. Obviously, it's been different years, but it has been very similar defenses. I mean, give or take a linebacker, but he's still facing that same defense. And Stefanski's schemes are working right now, so watch out for Baker having a good week. I'm starting him in one of my leagues in fantasy, and I'm confident that he can get me 18 to 20 points.
All 4 of us will be at that game on Monday night. Look out for us, Section 144, if you're out there. But we will definitely be back here Tuesday night reviewing the game, giving a
drunk as shit and swearing at Lamar Jackson. I'll say that.
So predictions for Monday night. What do you think is going to happen?
I honestly think that if we can come out there riding the momentum that we have for the past 4 games, I've said this before, if Baker shows up, we win games. What's the stat, Pat? Say that stat. How many points do we have to score to win a game?
The Browns are currently 9-0 when we score more than 8 points in a game.
If we score more than a touchdown, we win. We win. It doesn't matter who we play, I guess. We will win that game.
It's a pretty crazy stat. I'm saying
all right. It's a decent stat. I mean, if we scored 10 points,
it's a misleading stat. You're right. Yeah. It's a misleading stat, but it is kind of crazy to see.
It's a very interesting stat, don't get me wrong. He gets the whole team going. Once the offense starts going, the defense starts going. And all right, so just a quick thing from the Titans game. When we got the ball first, I thought that was a blessing in disguise because
I wanted the ball first.
Every time we win, we should be accepting the ball and running it because that's how our offense flows. And a quick lead early does wonders for this team. It really does.
Yeah, I'm saying 31-27 Browns.
It's going to be a shootout. That's what I think. I'm actually going to say short week for Baltimore. We'll go 42-38. I'm thinking some team. I'm not going to make a prediction yet.
35-33, I'm going to say. It's going to be close, and I think like Justin Tucker just did a couple of minutes ago, he's going to miss another clutch field goal.
When was the last time Justin Tucker missed a field goal inside 40 yards?
70 attempts. I just got that alert.
That's crazy.
70 in a row.
That's crazy.
What's your prediction, Zach? What's the score?
I'm gonna go closer with Pat. I'm gonna go with 31-24.
All right. Touchdown victory.
I think they were shooting them out. To be completely honest.
It is going to be snowing on Monday.
I still think we're going to shoot them out.
Call snow on Monday night.
All right.
Depending on the weather. If we're talking a normal day, it's a shootout. Okay, weather, we'll see.
We'll see. We've seen some pretty crazy weather in Cleveland for the past couple home games. So we were all except Josh were soaked. Josh missed out on that one due to COVID.
Unfortunately, I did contract the COVID-19 virus. Had no symptoms. I completed my 10-day isolation, everyone. Don't worry, I'm all okay. I did have the vid.
You're not a dead Brian.
Everyone's safe. But, hey, if anyone's going to be talking about going to the game, Eli, what is your record right now attending Browns games since you've started going?
So I'm 2-0 this year, which breaks a streak. Before last year, I was like 0-28 going to Browns games. Since last year, I'm 3-1. Like I went to the Ravens game last year. We lost. But the first 2 games of this year were 2-0. So we're trying to make that 3-0.
It's gonna be an interesting game on Monday. We'll see. It could have pretty big impact on the AFC North as we kind of move to talking about the rest of the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh fraud team over east of us, they take a loss to the Washington football team.
To say I was surprised by that game would be a lie. I did see a lot of action towards the Redskins early in the week. A lot of people taking Redskins +7. A lot of people thinking that this Steelers team is they're bound to crack. They're nothing special. I mean, did you see that video that Cowherd posted on Twitter
Yeah, I
of
was
him
gonna say
ripping at the guard?
our good friend Colin Cowherd had some interesting thoughts on that team.
I mean, I was watching that game at the Winking Lizard with my dad, and there were some Browns fans there watching the game too. I mean, there's nothing that brings Browns fans together other than a Browns win than a Steelers loss. That is a fact.
So I was watching that game. Turns out I was at a Steelers bar, and there were 4 Steelers fans sitting next to us, and me and my dad were just biting our tongues, being like, uh-oh, and then they lost, and it was very joyful, like everyone else said.
I mean, you saw on Twitter a lot of Browns players took to Twitter, including Myles Garrett, and pretty much saying, you know what, this division's still up for grabs. Pittsburgh plays a pretty tough schedule to end the year.
Been playing an easy schedule the entire year so far.
I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to get the division, but there's a lot of things that could happen to end the year.
It's not – we are not –
No, exactly. We are not out of the division yet.
And to think that is an actual possibility. When's the last time that we have ever thought that we could be leading the AFC North after week 13? I mean,
we were not a thought.
Before
I'll say that. We're not – all 4 of us were not a thought.
Yeah.
We weren't alive.
Nope.
We weren't a thought. I'll say that.
Yeah. So rest of NFL Sunday went pretty smoothly. Not a lot of Corona outbreaks right now with the Ravens or the Steelers getting all their games pushed back. So it looks like it's returning to a little bit of a normal schedule in this coming week. We saw another Bears collapse in the fourth quarter.
God, the Bears are an absolute sorry team.
I had Lions +3 in that game, so I didn't mind the collapse there at the end. But
I had the over in that game, which was beautiful.
So
hit easily.
It was I mean, the Bears are in a tough situation. They got a young quarterback that's not performing very well, and the problem is their defense is still – it's not what it was, but it's still pretty good.
There's talent.
I mean, anytime you have a Khalil Mack type on the outside, that always helps. But, I mean, if you look, they're in last place in the division now. They lost the Lions on a heartbreaker. I mean, their division's not getting any worse. I think it's time that they kind of go away from Trubisky and start moving towards possibly thinking about drafting a quarterback this year, just with how deep the quarterback class is. I mean, you got Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask. I mean, it's a deep quarterback class.
My guy, Zach Wilson.
I like Zach Wilson. He's actually up there in my favorites out of the QBs this year. I think he's a very typical NFL quarterback, and I think he would fit in very well into a pro-style offense.
I think the way that he played against the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, despite the loss and despite the chippiness, he really just he kept his head together. I mean, he
played well. He played really well. I don't mean to interrupt, but
no,
I watched that full game, and I've seen a couple other Coastal Carolina games, and they're very well coached, and they went into that game and said, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to control time of possession, and we're going to run the ball. So we're going to keep the best player on the field off the field. And they did that to perfection, and they did. And I'm glad they got the win.
They look good. You know, Coastal Carolina doesn't play very many teams, but to get a big win against a ranked opponent like that shows something about that team. I don't think they'll crack the top 8 this year, but it's good for a program that doesn't notoriously have a good football team. Could be good.
They'll get a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a Boise State type New Year's Six appearance.
I mean, that could also just change their program around for the 15 to 20
what happened
years.
for Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati wasn't a good football program. They had a couple good years, and now they're winning 11 games a year. Granted, it's in the Atlantic A10, or they're in the American. But I mean, it's good to turn around programs. I mean, the rest of the NFL, we're coming down the final weeks. The wild card picture's starting to take shape. We got the Browns, the Colts, Raiders, Ravens, Dolphins all in the mix for those wild card spots. I mean, that AFC East is still up for grabs with the Dolphins and Bills.
The NFC East is also still up for grabs.
I mean, the
gross.
NFC East is just disgusting.
The disgusting franchise.
I mean, to be fair, the Giants and Redskins have actually been playing pretty decent football recently.
Yeah. They had 2 big wins.
I mean, the Giants they've won 4 in a row.
So have we.
And so, I mean, I'll be interested to see how that Browns-Giants game goes, actually. So it could be seen as a trap game if we were to get through this Ravens game with a win. But
as you guys know, I go to Syracuse University, so I get my fair share of Jets and Giants fans, and I've been hearing a lot of choice words that defense when we play them. What week is that? That's 15, right, Eli?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's 15.
That defense might actually be a problem for Baker. And if, like I've said, if Baker can't get the offense going, we have, like, the run can be the run that we need it to be, but it won't be a winning game. I don't know. It's just what I've heard.
No, we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
we got one game before that, too, so we'll see.
Let's also put it in perspective. They had 3 offensive points at half in that game. It was 5-0, and one was a save. Wasn't it? Yeah. Or didn't they? Were they losing 5-0?
They were losing 5-0.
Yeah. Yeah. So their offense. I mean, sure, Daniel Jones wasn't there, but it's still an offense that's very containable. I don't know. We'll see.
Just kind of switching gears with this, Eli. I can't help but notice that your Kentucky Wildcats are 1-3.
Yeah.
And I would just like to give you an opportunity to explain what's going on there.
Maybe defend yourself a little bit and Coach Cal.
So this is what I'm going to say. Young team, no preseason. Should they be losing? No. But Cal has came out and said that Kentucky fans want to see a harder schedule. So you know what Cal did? He went up and scheduled Georgia Tech. He went up and scheduled Richmond, who Richmond is going to make the tournament and going to be a 4 seed.
Richmond's ranked this year.
Yeah, Richmond's going to be good. It's a tough schedule, and it's a bunch of freshmen. Do I agree with the rotations? Absolutely not. If anyone's seen a game, Davion Mintz should be starting, and Askew should be playing maybe 10 minutes a game. This kid, Davion Mintz, is the only player right now who has more assists than turnovers, which is a stat that is just baffling.
You're not winning very many games.
You're not winning. Yeah, you're not. The team can't shoot right now. I mean, Deontay Allen needs to start getting hot. They need to play Jacob Toppin. Jacob Toppin in the Kansas game played well. BJ Boston's going to be fine. It's a long season, and this is how I like watching these games in November to see really aligning what players do. Isaiah Jackson's a stud. I mean, he's a defensive animal. Other than that, we'll see. The season starts in late January. That's what I'm going to say. They need to find a role. They need to find their team, but not worried. We'll see. We'll see. It's good that they're getting beat early. That's what I'll say.
I mean, it's a weird year for college sports, just with how little they can actually practice, and especially with college basketball. A lot of coaches have been saying, "Hey, I don't want to play this season." I know Patino at Iona said they should just push back the season a month and have March Madness in May. I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of cancellations right now. I know, at least for me, watching my Hurricanes team right now, they just had a big win tonight against Purdue. They were down 20 at half and came back. They only gave up 18 points in the second half. But it's a weird year for college basketball. Not too much going on right now. A couple top 10 matchups. We got Illinois Duke tonight, which is
a great game.
Which is a great game. That tips off at 9:30, so that'll be something we'll be paying attention to.
Best team in the nation right now is Baylor, in my opinion. I'll just say that. Jalen Suggs is the best player in the nation. I think Baylor's the best team.
Has Baylor played a game yet? I know they've had most of them canceled.
Baylor played Illinois. They beat Illinois.
They beat Illinois. Okay.
They were going to play Zaga. They had their whole Gonzaga game. That was the one that got canceled. They played Illinois. They look really good, and I think they're going to be a problem for any team.
What do you think about Luke Garza at Iowa?
All right. He's playing D2 schools, but he's still a stud. I'll say that.
I mean, yeah, you can't not put up those kinds of numbers and not be good.
Putting up 40 points on 14 of 15 shooting and grabbing 10 boards.
It's good.
I don't really care who you're playing. That's impressive.
And they're smart shots, too. It's not like he's just driving and beating, like, people in the post. Like, he's making some good jump shots. He's making good basketball IQ moves. I'm not saying he's, like, obviously he's going to be NBA ready,
definitely.
but he's playing some really good basketball, and I'm really liking how the Big Ten's showing up in college basketball this year.
And speaking of Big Ten, your Ohio State Buckeyes, they seem to be in a little bit of a dilemma this weekend.
Quite a dilemma. The college football playoff rankings came out, I think, a couple hours ago. The rankings stayed the same. We still got Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Ohio State in the top 4. But unfortunately, the Buckeyes will not be playing the game this year against the team up north. Michigan has had several issues with COVID-19 and players contracting it. They had shut down their football facility a couple weeks ago and then opened back up, seemed everything was good. And then now today they just announced that Michigan would not like to play the game against Ohio State because they are worried about COVID-19. So Ohio State needs to get another game because right now, according to the Big Ten regulations, if they don't play a certain amount of games, they're not eligible for that Big Ten championship against Northwestern.
They need one more game, but the thing that's going to happen is, are you going to put Indiana in, who has played 6 games but has lost to Ohio State? Like, that just does not make sense. See, as an Ohio State fan, I would completely see if there was another team that Ohio State didn't play that was undefeated and had the regulations. That makes sense. It's unfortunate for Ohio State, but it is what it is. But the fact that the next best team Ohio State already beat is like, let's see. Now that brings up the point of could they schedule Texas A&M, which would be a crazy game. Say Ohio State wins that, there's no need for a Big Ten championship. They're in. It's definitely going to get very tricky. I'll say it's going to get very tricky. And some people are not going to be happy. Obviously, I was irate that Michigan didn't want to play this year. It was Harbaugh's biggest accomplishment in his tenure right now. No debating that. It's the biggest win in his eyes. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll really see.
Did you just see that kick? Did you just see the Cowboys try and kick that 40-yarder and just absolutely whiff it to the right? What is with the kicks this day?
It must be windy in Baltimore.
It must be very windy.
Dude, my Wi-Fi here is terrible. Like, actually the worst Wi-Fi I've ever seen in a hotel. Like, it is actually – it's not complimentary. I'll say that.
I mean –
it's the exact opposite.
As you guys know, I'm not an Ohio State fan, and I'm also not a Michigan fan. So this game for me has always been a kind of sit back and watch all of you guys get upset and chirp each other. So for me, I struggle with this game just because Michigan knew they were going to get clapped. That was what was going to happen in this game.
It was a 20-point favorite for Ohio State opening.
It was 30.
It was 30? I heard it was 30.
It was a 30-point favorite. It was the highest ever.
And I'm not going to say that they decided not to play because they didn't want to get embarrassed like that, because I know they've had a lot of issues with COVID, and I'm not trying to make any light of the COVID-19 situation. But it seems a little convenient to me that a year that they're a 30-point underdog, they somehow get out of the game while also possibly fucking over Ohio State in terms of Big Ten Championship. It seems just a little too nice.
Biggest college football game for a reason. It is one of the biggest marketed and advertised games on Fox or whatever network puts it out that year. Like, every person in the state of Ohio and in the state of Michigan, doesn't matter if you're a fan or not, the probability that you're watching that game on that Saturday is very, very high.
Let's get Miami and Ohio State on the same field and let's see how it goes.
I think that would be a good idea. If we're just playing scrimmages now, like, go for it. Like, you won't see these games. You won't see, like, out of conference games be picked up 48 hours or 60 hours before.
Might as well go.
Yeah, I mean, go for it. You know, there's
Ohio
nothing to
State
lose.
don't play very much.
No, yeah. Hey, if Coastal and BYU could do it, traveling across the country, anyone can do it. I'll say that. I can say that right now. If the Mormons and the Mullets can get that going, anyone can get it going.
So Eli, we all know how big of a Braun fan you are. So how you feel about? There's been a lot of Braun news in the media recently.
Considering the league is starting back up in
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. I mean, not to say LeBron doesn't always get the media spotlight, but there's been some interesting quotes, Eli. Some interesting statements.
All right, so what? Feed me some quotes, and I'll give you my response, all right?
Well, let's start off with one that came out today. He said that he is very excited about how his current deal with the Lakers is lining up with his 16-year-old son's future in the NBA.
You know, Braun's got to plan out years ahead.
Absolutely. All right, so I'll give you the breakdown right now. As someone who could potentially be an aspiring agent, I think LeBron did a very nice job. Him and Rich Paul did a great job doing this deal. Obviously, now it's a 3-year deal. It changes his incentives from next year. He got himself a 5% raise, and it's putting him back out with Bronny. So, seeing if if the NBA does change that 1-year rule in the next 3 years, which lots of people think will be changed, then it makes sense why it should be changed. We'll put him out there while Bronny can enter. So I think he did a nice job with the deal. He got his money. AD got his money. They unloaded, and Rob Pelinka, it was a win for everyone. It really was. It was a win for everyone. Rob Pelinka killed this offseason, and LeBron rewarded him by signing a 2-year extension, which is, if you can get LeBron to have a 2-year extension, you won the offseason. That's exactly what happens. You can get him. He does not sign more than 2 years. So if you get that 2 years, you should honestly just sit back, smoke a cigar, and just call it a day, because Rob Pelinka did a great job, got the players he needed, and should be rewarded. LeBron rewarded him, and absolutely doing so. So that's my thoughts on that.
So staying on the LeBron train, LeBron also joined one of my favorite podcasts, Road Tripping Podcast, with former Cleveland Cavaliers Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and former Cleveland Cavaliers sideline reporter Allie Clifton. They talked about our good friend over in Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving, our former acquaintance. He said today that he praised Kevin Durant, his new teammate, as the first teammate he could trust as much as he trusts himself to take the last shot of the game. What do you think? What do you think about that, Eli?
So I'm going to do something real quick. Kyrie Irving is a great player. He has always been a great player. He's always been, and he's had his best years with us. He had his best years with LeBron, and LeBron said it great. He said, when I heard that, I said, damn, I'm hurt. He should be. All he ever cared about was Kyrie, and all he ever cared about was them getting together and them winning. So before I kind of go on a rant, I'm gonna throw some stats out there for you. I thought this was a great graphic created by Basketball Reference. So we're going shot to shot, shot to take the lead or shot to tie the game in the playoffs. So Kyrie's talking all this
Basketball Reference. You absolutely love that website.
Basketball Reference, great website. Should always do it. Should always look at that. It gets me through my 2 a.m. Can't sleep moments. And yeah, so we're gonna go a little bit head to head. So Kyrie's talking about the playoffs, most important time, the thing LeBron do. So he went to Golden State. So we're gonna go head to head. Minutes. All right. Kevin Durant taking shots in the last 2 minutes. He is 14-42, a whopping 33.3%. That sucks. That you can't trust someone taking a shot and them only hitting 33% of it. We'll go to the greatest player of all time. The last 2 minutes, he's 32-70, which is 46%. Much better. I mean, much better. We'll break this down.
46% seems better than 33.
I have not taken a math class since I've been in college. Thank God. And I can already tell those are better numbers.
So then we're just going to keep breaking it down. We'll go last minute. So even more crunch time. We're going to go KD. Ooh, 8-29. Do you know what that equates to? Anyone?
No,
yes.
Definitely less than 30%.
It is. Good job, Zeki. It's 27.6. That is pitiful. Assuming you get a couple, like 2 possessions a minute, he's hitting 1 every 2 minutes. And obviously that doesn't really equate that much, but hey, he's not going near Bron. Bron is 20 of 41, which is a near 50%, 49%. We'll break it down. Last 48 seconds for KD, it doesn't get better. It's 8 to 20. I mean, it does get better a little bit. It's 8 to 27. He's at 30%. Last 48 seconds for Bron, he gets better. 19 to 38. He's at 50%. We'll break it down even more. Last 3 seconds. So you have the shot at the end of the game. KD, 1 for 6 at 16%. You know what the GOAT's at? He's at 7 to 15. 47%. So 47% for 17%. And we'll even break this down. Buzzer beaters in the playoffs. See, Kevin Durant, he never really had to do this as much. He is more relying on Steph and relying on Clay. So he's only at 0 for 3. He has not hit a buzzer beater in the playoffs. LeBron, 5 for 9. He is shooting 5 for 9 game-winning shots. Kyrie, you're a fucking moron. Good night. Just look at this. I can send you it. I can send you that graphic, Kyrie. I can send you that graphic. So shut your mouth.
The last time that Kyrie saw a graphic, he didn't.
He's not going to talk to the media anymore. So I guess.
Yeah. He posted a very, very long Instagram story the last time the media did something that he didn't like. So we don't want to piss off Kyrie too badly, Eli.
That's very true. I'm just saying, ever since he left Cleveland, he promised to re-sign in Boston, flaked, thought the world was flat. Actually, that was at the end of his tenure in Cleveland. Promised the Boston, come back. He said something about Christmas. Signs in Brooklyn, doesn't want to play in the bubble, and he's kind of become a head case. I'll be completely honest. I mean, LeBron fathered him, and we saw the quote where he said LeBron wasn't father. He was his father. He kept him in line. He told him what to do and how to handle the media. And now that he doesn't have it anymore, he's like a lost dog. He doesn't know what to do.
All right, so answer this question for me real fast. Who do you think is the biggest head case to have on your franchise right now in the NBA? Kyrie Irving or Paul George?
James Harden. I think James Harden is the biggest problem in the NBA right now.
Wow.
Paul George. I think Paul George has higher expectations for him than what he is. Is he a head case? Sure, he's a head case, but they want Paul George to do too much. He's not built for the moment. He's a good regular season player, and he can fit well in a decent system as the third option. Like, he can be a Kevin Love, but he can't be the second option. And I think Kyrie's a fantastic player, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what him and KD do, because I do think he's going to buckle down, and not talking to the media is going to be the best thing for him.
And those Nets are a good team. I mean, they played pretty well in the bubble. Joe Harris, former Cavalier, also played really well. They got Timothy Luau. Can't pronounce that last name for the loud.
Cavaro.
Yeah, he's good.
I hit a
He's good
in the bubble. I hit them against the Bucks, thanks to
Eli.
They
They have the most underrated player in the NBA in Karis LeVert. I think Karis LeVert, because neither of those guys are going to play 72 games this year, I think Karis LeVert is going to be a very good play in daily fantasy. He's going to be cheap, but the days where KD or Kyrie are out, you should absolutely incorporate him in the lineup. He scored over 20, I think, in 10 times in the bubble, including he balled out in that game against Portland. That one game at the very end. I mean, he's a great player. He's from Columbus, Ohio. Unfortunately, Thad Matta and those boys down there could not recruit him, so he went up north to Michigan. And Michigan turned him out to be very good. And I think if he doesn't play with Brooklyn for a little while, he signed a deal a couple of years ago, but he's a stud. All right, that's my Karis LeVert rant.
All right, so my good friend Zeki over here, he's been a little quiet because
he's the soccer expert.
He is the soccer expert. We had some great and crazy Champions League today. Zeki, go right into it, kid.
Now we're in my neck of the woods. Very excited to be on here. Eli, I'm very curious to see some of your thoughts after I get through my little spiel.
A lot of beef about the GOAT.
Yeah.
GOAT and soccer.
Quick
between
context,
these two.
Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest player of all time. Eli, whose knowledge of the game is questionable at best, like to say otherwise. But we're going to get right into it. We had the game the world wanted today. We had GOAT versus GOAT today. That was the headline. Messi versus Ronaldo. I mean, I've never seen a game where leadership or the importance of leadership was defined more in this game. So we're looking at these two teams. We have Barcelona, we have Juventus, and both teams very average. I mean, Barcelona is so off of their prime in 2009. They're lacking the quality they once had. Juve have always been, I mean, they're the Italian giants, but in Europe, they've really never done anything there. I'm looking at these two players who are, I mean, Cristiano's getting there. He turns 36 on February 5th, which is sad to say. I mean, getting there with LeBron as well. I mean, Messi's he's still at 33 right now, so he still has some years left beyond Cristiano. But I'm saying right now, in terms of the players that is providing the most for their team, their average team right now, I'm looking, it's got to be Cristiano. And you see that was the difference today. Messi had 7 shots on goal today. It was all of Barca's shots. I'll give him that. He was getting to goal. The issue is he wasn't able to put any of them away. And to give context, the Champions League group, that group was decided today as to who gets the 1 seed and who's the 2 seed. I mean, Juventus had to win 3-0 today to overtake Barca.
Yeah, 3, right?
They needed 3 goals. So a 2-0 win would have done absolutely nothing. Barca needed 1 goal at the end of the game to solidify them as getting the 1 pot. And they just couldn't do it. And it goes to show, like, with 7 shots on target, Messi's not putting 1 of those away when 4 out of the 7 were in the box. I mean, give it to Buffon. He made great saves today, but you've got to be putting 1 of those away. And I'm saying if Cristiano has 7 shots on goal, the chances that 1 of them goes in is exponentially high. And we're just going to go through it. If you take Cristiano out of Juventus, which due to COVID, he missed quite a bit of games, they've won 1 out of their 5 games without him, averaging 0.76 shots on target per game. Wow. You put him in the team, they have won 6 out of their 8 while never losing. So they drew the other 2. And when I'm saying games they should be winning without him even being on the roster, they played a team newly promoted to Serie A last weekend called Benevento. I mean, Eli, you'd appreciate this. They didn't even have a logo on the ESPN app. and they couldn't pick up the points. They drew 1-1. And they're sitting 4th in Serie A right now. They've won it 9 years in a row, and it's very questionable as to whether they're going to win this year or not.
Who's first right now in Serie A?
I mean, Serie A right now, it's a contention between, you have Lazio up there, Atalanta, you have Inter, and it's just –
Where's Napoli in the table right now? I
mean, Napoli, they're like right in 5th. I think they're either in 5th or 6th. I mean, they're in the contention, obviously, but I mean, they've had a rough go. They're in between managers, and it's just, I mean, it hasn't been them. I mean, so they're trying to get there. But I mean, we're going up today. Yeah, the headline is CR7 scores 2 pens, and I know, Eli, what is your favorite thing to call the GOAT? What is it?
Penaldo.
Yeah, Eli loves to go to Twitter for all the soccer references. So, yeah, I mean, the headline, he scored 2 pens today. You go for the first one. I mean, he drew the foul for the pen. The second one was a handball, so I guess you can say that was a gimme. But if we're going to talk about pens.
That's fine. They won the game 3-0. They
exactly.
did what they needed
to do. And if we're talking about pens, how Messi scores non-pen goals, if you look at this season, Messi only has 2 goals from open play. And if we're looking at all of 2020 as a whole, I know it's been coronavirus, but Cristiano has more non-penalty goals, 25, than Messi does all goals together, 24, including pens. Not to mention, Ronaldo is the leading goal scorer in 2020 at age 35 with 40 goals in 40 games. I mean, production is still there even at this age, and it's honestly quite remarkable. So, I mean, that was a great game for me to watch today. I was watching with my boys. It was fantastic. Eli, did you get any of the glimpse of the game today?
Did not see a single thing. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, you can go watch the highlights if you want. It was kind of nice. They had some moments. I mean, my favorite moment, honestly, for the viewers who watched it, my favorite moment was when Messi nutmegged one of the Juve players. He was going into the box, and Cristiano tracks back, makes the tackle, takes the ball away from him in his own box. I mean, we all know Cristiano doesn't defend that much, and it was great to see that. And he was back in Spain, back at the Camp Nou. It was fantastic. Shifting over, we had a very, very unique situation today in the PSG game.
Quite the incident.
And we all lived it live. Eli, I'm not sure if you saw what went down.
I did see it.
Crazy shit went down in that
Yeah,
game.
so it was Paris against Istanbul. I mean, that whole group together is a complete shit show. I mean, with United losing today to Leipzig especially, going into today, all three teams were tied at the top of the table on 9 points. All three teams needed to win. So we're looking to kick off the PSG game, and they play, 12 minutes?
I think it was like in the 12th minute.
I thought it was 22. Or was it? I saw it at 22 when all that stuff went down.
It stopped at the 11th minute. They were 11 minutes into the game, and obviously the time was still going when the incident
The one you correct me if I'm wrong. But so the rundown, what I took from the situation is there was a foul called in the middle of the game.
Yeah, questionable slide tackle.
Questionable slide tackle. People were upset. Coaching staff was upset. The Istanbul coaching staff is getting into it. And what basically the incident was, the fourth official, so the official that runs the substitutions and all that, he's Romanian. And he said the English translation is he wanted to eject the African-American coach from Istanbul from the game.
He directly said, if a direct translation from the Romanian phrase, he said,
Kick the black guy out.
Kick the black guy out.
Yes, and black in Romanian is pronounced negru. So there was a whole discrepancy as to whether or not there was racism involved in what he was saying, but this took a very long time.
The assistant coach that he was referring to rightfully got very aggressive and very upset with the Romanian official because whether it was language barrier, there was actually content with what he said. So then the Istanbul team refused to play, and Mbappe on PSG supported this, said, all right, we will walk off with you. So the teams walked off the field, and the play was suspended. And I think recently it's come out saying that they're going to finish that game tomorrow, but they weren't sure if they were going to actually do anything with it. But it actually makes a big difference because it keeps Manchester United out of the –
It does. And I love everything. The response from the players and the coaching staff, the decision to not play the game with what had happened, whether it was malicious intent or not, I completely support that and I agree with that. The issue I have is because as things stood, as of an hour or two ago, they awarded PSG and they just called the game as a draw, which is very significant because that point to PSG puts them above Man U, and that means United are out of the Champions League if that result stood. United played bad today. They lost. They should have won. They should have done their job, but they still had a chance to go through. And with this decision to call it as a draw, if they don't end up playing tomorrow, that is a huge decision that's impacting multiple franchises when they only played 11 minutes of the game.
I mean, we had a situation early not really early in 2020, but over the summer during the NBA bubble where there was an instance that every single player on the Milwaukee Bucks decided, no, we're not playing this playoff game. We are tired of the racial injustice that's going on in the United States. And
specifically in Milwaukee at that time.
And I'm not saying that they didn't have the right to do that. I'm completely supportive of the players' rights to protest and use their platform to express their beliefs. And I'm completely supportive of rights and equality for all people and all creeds. But I also think that the opportunity to play, without that opportunity, no player will have that platform to share with the world. That's the biggest argument about today with players and social justice and being able to express your platform is people say okay, you can hold out for however long, but if you hold out for so long that you can't play and you choose not to play, you lose that powerful platform that the sport industry has in the world. The sport industry, I think we can all agree, is one of the most powerful money-making industries in the world.
You see it with I do in my life.
You see it with the Super Bowl. You see it with the Olympics. It is a money-making industry. And without sports, our economy would be absolutely in the shitter this year with COVID-19. It's already doing horrible, but imagine if we couldn't watch football this year. And imagine if we'd never had an NBA bubble.
I wouldn't be sane. I don't think I really this whole time. I need sports each day. And the time where we didn't have any sports, I think I started knitting.
Yeah.
I did so many puzzles. I did so many puzzles.
Knitting. which is just obscene.
Yeah.
That I had to knit.
What'd you knit?
I think I made a scarf.
Yeah.
But I don't think it worked. I got about 6 inches, and it couldn't do it. I needed sports back, but.
And Pat cried.
Zeki, I know anytime we being Josh, Eli, and myself, are interested in betting, we don't know too much about soccer, so we go to you.
Too much is an understatement. We have absolutely nothing about soccer.
I know players' names, but that's about it.
I would say I know some teams, and I always like to guess which teams are in which divisions, and I love playing the game.
So,
Zeki, let's hear the picks.
Yeah, let's hear your
I
picks
do enjoy
here.
helping you guys. I love it when you guys win.
Our last parlay hit that you gave me.
It did. Spurs over the weekend, dominant win.
That
over
was a big
Arsenal,
one. That was
who
a
is
big
just
one.
a sad franchise.
Yeah,
right now.
Arsenal's in a tough spot.
I mean, they're
right now.
sitting 15th in the Prem. They're 3 spots away from relegation, while the odds that they actually get relegated have to be infinite. Like, there's no way that happens, but it's a sad time for Arsenal fans. But looking for betting, I'm looking at the Champions League matches tomorrow. Tomorrow, there's a lot going on. It's specifically looking at Group B with Madrid, Inter. Real Madrid and Inter both need wins. If they're sitting at the bottom of their table, they both need wins to go through. My picks for tomorrow, I'm looking Manchester City over Marseille. City's already really clinched the group, but they still need a performance to solidify it. Marseille could sneak in. So City against Marseille, we're going to go, the risky pick is Inter versus Shakhtar. Shakhtar has beaten Madrid twice in this group stage, but Madrid has played absolutely horrendous. Inter absolutely need a win to go through. There's no going about that. And they have their full roster. So I'm going to pick Inter over Shakhtar. I'm going Madrid over Borussia Mönchengladbach. And another lock should be Bayern versus Lokomotiv Moscow. I mean, Bayern Munich, their streak did just get snapped, but they had won 26 consecutive Champions League games against an already relegated Moscow. It seems to be pretty straightforward. And what were the odds? Was it plus 220?
Yeah, plus 220 on that parlay. So casual
Oh, that's a good one.
$22 on that. It's all favorites. Zeki said the risky pick was Inter there. They're sitting at minus 406 right now. So if you're looking to potentially cash out on a big money line, it would be, who are they playing?
Shakhtar.
Shakhtar's got a big money line in the 900. So if you're looking for a little more of a risky play, Zeki says there's a chance that they could beat that. That comes from Soccer Professional.
Very minimum a draw.
Comes from the Soccer Professional on our podcast. So that brings it to myself. I like to consider myself a betting man. I
would consider you a guru.
I like my picks. I like my NFL picks. I like my college basketball picks. We're gonna stick with NFL this week. We got a pretty big slate coming in. So we got, for Thursday night football, we got Rams and Patriots. I'm liking the Rams -6 in this game. Cam Newton just came off a pretty decent game for him. He didn't have very many passing yards, but ran 2 touchdowns in. He only threw for 69 yards, but team got it done 45-0. Rams are directly competing for that division title. I think the Rams defense is going to be a little too much for Cam to handle, and I think that offense can get clicking against a subpar defense in New England. I think the -6 for the Rams will cash on Thursday. And then Sunday, I got 2 straight bets. The Packers -7.5. Look, the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, they're
playing really well.
They're
really,
clicking right
really
now.
well.
Aaron is playing like an MVP. I know how Eli feels about Aaron. He thinks he's the greatest quarterback to play the game.
He's the greatest quarterback to play the game. If they gave him any sort of weapons or defense consistently, he might have double-digit hand, like 2 hands worth of rings. That's all I gotta say. All right, Pat, go on.
So they play the Lions. The Lions are bad. That's just how it is.
That's just a shocking line, in my opinion. 7.5.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking more in the 10 range,
right?
But if you can get 7.5, I think Packers -7.5 is a really good bet. I also think Buffalo on Sunday night against the Steelers -2.5. Steelers have looked awful. They have looked terrible.
And Josh Allen last night looked really, really, really good. He had a great game. He really just found everyone he needed to find. It wasn't a dig-centered game necessarily. He found Beasley.
No, it was a Cole
He
Beasley
found
centered
everyone.
game.
Very good
Like,
It was a
game.
Cole Beasley centered game.
So I'm thinking Bills minus 2.5. If you're picking between the Packers and Bills one, I'm probably leaning Bills. I think they're going to come out and absolutely stomp Pittsburgh on national TV and lead into that big Monday night game for the Browns and Ravens.
How does that help the Bills?
I think
It would solidify their division lead, and it also could move them.
they could get
Pittsburgh
to a 3 speed. Yeah.
They could even get closer to a 2 seed because Pittsburgh would then lose.
Right.
And Buffalo has 3 losses, so
They would love.
I'm saying this
those fans would love
on Pat's pick. Aaron Jones is gonna have a game. Aaron Jones.
You're just saying that because you need him to have a game for fantasy. I would love Devontae to have a game too, week 14.
No. Aaron Jones against the Detroit Lions.
No, I know. We saw how David Montgomery did last week. We know what they can do.
Well, we did. Yeah, and that's firsthand, Aaron Jones had 180 and 3 touchdowns last time they played. So, no, he's going dummy. I'm just saying that right now.
Would you take his over if it's around the 70-yard range?
I would take it if it's 100. He's going to have 130 yards.
Wow.
I would say total 130 yards. Gets 80 on there. He hasn't had a game of less than 75 total yards, so put that up to 100 easily. You saw he's just getting into gear. He dominated the fantasy playoffs last year. His schedule's nice this year. He's just getting ready. He just ripped off that 75-yard run against the Eagles defense that contain. Pat told us this, and I was a little shaky on it, but he was right. They contain the running backs really well. They really shut down most of them, and they just give up a couple big plays. That's the thing about the Eagles defense. And then, boom, Aaron Jones comes out and did that to the Eagles defense, which was really good. So, yes, Aaron Jones is a play. And
my final bet is my Sunday Scaries parlay. It is the Rams on Thursday night against New England's money line minus 245. Packers money line on Sunday minus 400 against Lions. I have an upset pick with the Chargers plus 120 against the Falcons.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think Justin Herbert's going to have a big bounce-back game after getting absolutely dismantled by New England.
Embarrassed. I would say embarrassed.
And then I got the Bills money line minus 140 on Sunday night against the Steelers. That comes out to plus 540 odds. So $10 bet to win 54. Good luck to anyone tailing any of these picks. Always bet responsibly, but always throw your bets in early.
What was your bad beat of the week, Pat?
So actually in that game that Eli was mentioning, the Packers and Eagles, this didn't happen to me. This was actually good for me because I had the Packers -8, but that Aaron Jones run with about 2 minutes to go in the game actually cashed Packers -8. So any Eagles bettors, Eagles +8, they got a bad beat on that because they were looking to run the clock out, and Aaron Jones took it about 70 yards to the house.
And you can win your money back if you bet on the Eagles last week by betting on Aaron Jones this week. That's what
they snagged that backdoor cover last week for sure. All right, so ending today's podcast, we're going to start our new segment. It is our top 5 of the week. Today, we have Consensus Fast Food in the 216 in the Cleveland, Ohio. Not all of you are going to hear about these places, but if you ever make your way down on I-90, I'm telling you, you got to try some of these places. They are exclusive to our town. All right, let's hear the categories.
And so first, the criteria on which we decide our top 5 are price, hospitality, taste, and food quantity, which we like to call bang for your buck.
All right, Zeki, give him number 5. This is a nationwide chain.
Yeah, nationwide, all you familiar with it. We ate at Wendy's this week. And honestly, it's coming at number 5. We went there on the weekend, and it was late night. It was around midnight time. But they weren't accepting credit cards, which proved to be a minor issue.
I mean, I don't get how right now in COVID they don't take credit cards and they want to take cash. That is single-handedly the worst thing that they could possibly say. That let's take all the money that we don't know where it's from and everyone's touching, and now we're all going to touch it and probably give change to someone else. I just thought it was fucking ridiculous.
Listen, the food was good.
Yeah, food was fine. Food is
fantastic.
always going to be the same, but if that is something that's going to happen, absolutely
Given
fine.
the time that it was at night, it was fantastic. So, I mean, it's coming at 5.
All right, give us number 4.
Number 4, this is something we had today, actually. We went to Bibi Bop today.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable Korean food. Unbelievable.
Fantastic.
That's a 4. I think.
Yeah, it was good food.
I like
It was a lot of food.
The portions were great.
The lady in the line blessed
She
us
did bless us
in
with
terms
a
of her
lot of
scoops.
food.
Portions are good.
Talking
Yeah.
about bang for buck performance. This
$8.
beautiful woman just blessed us.
Not only $8, but if you
If
did
you
what
got
I
the discount
did.
code.
So Eli, listen to this. So while we're paying, I see the sign right at the cashier that says, sign up for the rewards right now and you get $5 off. I go, yeah, I'm going to do that. That's a layup. Spend $3 on my meal, like obviously biggest bang in my buck, get $5 off, and now I'm signed up for Bibi Bop rewards.
Eli, you should have seen the way this man was holding up the line in Bibi Bop.
Unreal.
I mean, he started the download of the app when the guy was
At the cash register.
At the cash register. And he's just sitting there.
Had to sign up and everything.
I mean, we had to have been over capacity of how many people were allowed to bill. And we were just waiting on Josh to get his $5 coupon, which he probably could have used in 3 days when we go there next.
Yeah, probably true.
Give us number 3.
Yeah, number 3. We're going to, I think we ate there about a week ago. We go Piata, Italian street food.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hospitality's not great though. It does take
Hospitality is sus.
Eli's seen firsthand.
He's
had to wait in that place a very long time.
Like a very long time.
But
the hospitality's good. Okay, the hospitality's nice people. Just
it's good people.
They are understaffed like a bitch.
It is
But, yes.
good fucking food though. I mean, their meatballs with their garlic wrap is always hits the spot. Also, a lot of food.
Yeah,
a lot of food.
The portions are great.
They do.
Count for those people who are trying to gain, as we all are. But all right, number 2. This is one we don't eat that often. We ate there a lot in our high school days. It's called Farmer in the Deli.
Shout out Farmer in the Deli. If anyone knows that place, it is a local family-owned deli that has absolutely amazing boar's head sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a bunch of drinks, stuff like that. It's really good. If you are ever in the Gates Mills area, 100% would recommend getting a sub from there. It's not expensive. It's about $8 for a very large sub.
It fills you. It really
Very
fills
filling.
You.
They don't skimp on the meat. They make sure that you get a lot of meat on that sandwich.
And it's also every time I go there, like it is always very personal. Like it's like they really ask me like what I want in my sandwich, and I feel like they care. Like if I go to Subway and they're like, "You want some provolone?" Like I don't think they care.
Cap off the power rankings, and this is going to be one that's going to be very tough to remove from the number 1 spot.
This is pretty much how Alabama is right now in the college football.
Like Ohio unique. It's just Swenson's drive-in restaurant. It's
unmatched.
It's unmatched.
Hospitality.
Fantastic.
10 out of 10.
I mean, these guys have to be in college athletic form.
They are running from the actual place where they make the food to your car. They're not walking.
No,
they are running everywhere.
Like Usain Bolt-like. They are sprinting.
You flick your lights on for service.
Instant.
They are there.
Instant.
They are there.
You pull up, and your lights don't even have to be on. You pull up into a spot right there. They go.
And in
what
terms
can I help
prices,
so
beautiful.
cheap.
You can
so
get a
cheap.
double cheeseburger
so
for
cheap.
$3.85. It's fantastic. And they're open late.
I think there's like maybe 10 or 11 Venmos of just us 4 going back and forth about $4 per. Okay. Like, it is like Swenson.
It doesn't get better than it is. I mean,
$6. Like, yeah.
There are times where Zeki and I go multiple times a day.
Yeah.
There's times where we end up going 10 times a week. I mean, the burgers are amazing. Their sides, amazing. Drinks, milkshakes, everything, 10 out of 10 for me.
The only thing that I would say, and I know Pat agrees with me on this,
mozzarella
if any
sticks.
of my Swanatics are watching this or listening, they need mozzarella sticks.
It's a must. It's a must. If they got that, I don't think I'd eat anywhere else. I don't think I would eat anywhere else.
I would get those every day.
It would be unreal.
Yeah.
All right,
Definitely.
we'll end off. Everyone gives their go-to meal when they pull up into Swenson's. Eli, you start off.
My go-to meal. That's a good question. Galley Boy, fries. Maybe 2 Galley Boys fries, hot fudge milkshake. Very standard, but it's like it's a game manager, you know. Like
It's a job done.
obviously it hits a little like similar, not different now that you've had it for like 5 years consistently. Because like it used to only be in Akron, so like whenever I go to baseball games, baseball tournaments, that's would be like, all right, I'm going 20 minutes out the way, like we're getting this. But like since it's here, like, I'm consistently satisfied with it. So it's not like hitting different, but it's hitting the same in a good way. That's what I'll say.
I gotta go 2 double cheeseburgers with lettuce on it, and then I'm probably going onion rings and large water cup and a root beer milkshake. It's the simple. Hey, the milkshake's good, but the water washes it down.
The water cup is essential. And all you guys know, I ordered the whole menu when I go to Swenson's.
This is
more
true.
often than not.
This is true.
So if I'm at the door right now, I'm saying I want a double cheeseburger plain with just lettuce. I'm going potato puffs. I'm going onion rings, and then I'm definitely going large water cup. Okay, their ice is phenomenal. The water cup is
Their
huge.
ice is phenomenal.
And I might top it all up with the
Styrofoam.
root beer shake at the end, but fantastic. You can get all that for like $11. It's great.
All right, and Josh, round us out for the podcast. Tell us what you want.
Oh, my God. When I go there and I get my Galley Boy with everything, rarely with bacon, but sometimes with bacon,
I got bacon the other day.
it hits the spot. I mean,
pretty good.
I loved – my favorite thing about getting that Galley Boy is seeing that olive on top, and I have not gotten an olive in a while. So
Swenson's ordering with us.
I know. So Swenson's, if you're listening to this, put the olives on my Galley Boys, all right? I need the olives. I like that little bitterness before I eat my burger. It tastes good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We're signing off, and we will see you next week on Tuesday night after the Monday Night Football game, Browns versus Ravens. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much.